Hi, I'm George. Growing up in a family with more zeros in their bank account than a blockbuster movie's opening weekend, you'd expect my life to be all private jets and Dom Perignon. Not exactly. While my sisters, Nancy and Mia, were handed trust funds and luxury cars before they even had learner's permits, I was given the family creed: work harder, George, earn it yourself. Dad's words echoed through our marble halls like some corporate pep talk on loop. Mom, always draped in designer labels and diamonds that caught every light, would nod in agreement. It builds character, dear, she'd say, like she was narrating a lifestyle magazine spread. But everything changed one crisp autumn evening. I was walking past my father's study when I caught voices behind the gilded doors, not the usual business jargon. This time, the words were sharp, jagged. Debt. Bankruptcy. My mother's voice, normally calm and polished, wavered. What are we going to do? We'll figure it out, Dad replied, his tone heavy. Just, don't tell the kids, especially not George. Nancy and Mia were protected, their futures prepaid. Me, I was deliberately left in the dark. That night lit something in me, a mixture of betrayal and burning curiosity. If they thought they could keep this collapsing empire hidden behind crystal chandeliers and polite smiles, they didn't know me at all. I decided to find the truth. The next day, I walked into our family's bank, pretending it was just a casual check-in, business as usual. Mr. Thompson, the manager, had always treated us like royalty. This time, I needed more than a warm smile. How's the family, Mr. T? Your kids in college yet? I asked breezily before steering the conversation. Say, has there been anything unusual going on with the accounts lately? You know, with the markets being so unpredictable. He hesitated, then leaned in, voice hushed. Well, George, I really shouldn't say anything, but yes, there have been substantial withdrawals, and loans, big ones. Times are tough. Bingo. The first crack in their polished facade. Later that night, I caught another fragment of truth. My mom was on the phone, pacing, anxious, a far cry from her usual composed self. We need to consolidate everything, she whispered fiercely. If this leaks before we're ready, it'll destroy us. Dinner was a performance. Nancy flaunted her latest shopping spree. Mia was planning another international getaway. Must be nice, I muttered, not quite under my breath. What was that? Nancy asked, pausing mid-bite. Oh, nothing, I replied, smiling thinly, just glad to see everyone's doing so well. It'd be nice if we could all enjoy that kind of security. My parents exchanged a glance, just a flicker, but I caught it. George, we're proud of how independent you are, Dad said, his voice carefully measured. Sure, I replied, independence is character building, but a little support wouldn't kill anyone. I didn't press further, not yet. But the game had started. And this time, I wasn't playing to lose. The family reunion was the perfect stage for the truth. The room buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the kind of cheer that only exists when everyone agrees not to look too closely. Smiles were wide, conversations shallow, the illusion of perfection was almost convincing. Then came the toast. I raised my glass. To family, I began, my voice calm but cutting, to the ties that bind us, and the truths that define us. Polite laughter, glasses lifted. But I didn't stop. And to the hard truths, like how some of us were handed every privilege, while the rest of us were left standing on a sinking ship. Silence. The kind that makes your skin prickle. Mom's smile froze, then vanished. George, what are you talking about? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm talking about the debt, I said, louder now. The mountain of it you and Dad have been hiding while funding Nancy and Mia's dream lives. Gasps cut through the silence. All eyes turned to our parents. Nancy's brow furrowed. Mia's glass trembled in her hand. Dad stood abruptly, voice thunderous. Enough, this isn't the time or the place. But it's true, isn't it? I pulled a folded stack of papers from my jacket pocket and laid them on the table. Here, bank statements, loans, withdrawals. You've been borrowing against everything to keep up this fantasy. Nancy grabbed the documents, her eyes raced across the page. This isn't real, she said. Our trust funds, are they even intact? They're not, I said, locking eyes with her. Yours, Mia's, All compromised. Mia stood like she'd been slapped. You knew about this and didn't say anything? You let us keep spending like nothing was wrong? I was trying to show you, I said, voice sharp, trying to make you see the truth before it was too late. You don't get to decide that, she snapped. I didn't decide any of this, I shot back. They did. I nodded toward our parents, who were both now on their feet, pale and frantic, trying to regain control. The room erupted, voices rose, accusations flew, emotions flared like open flames. Mom begged for a private conversation, Dad barked orders, but the damage was already done. Trust, the one thing this family claimed to have in abundance, was now as bankrupt as the accounts they'd been draining. As the chaos spiraled, I stepped back. I'd said what I came to say, the truth was out, the illusion was over. And the real family reunion had just begun. In the days that followed, the silence from my family was louder than any argument. I was now the outcast, the traitor, the one who shattered the myth. I moved out, started over. A few close friends reached out, most didn't know what to say. Then one day, a text from Nancy. You've destroyed this family, don't expect forgiveness. I stared at the message, the weight of everything hit me, what I'd risked, what I'd lost. I typed a reply, not expecting anything in return. I told the truth, for all of us. One day, I hope you'll understand that. No response. But that was okay. With my family fractured, I turned to the one thing I still had control over, my future. And I started to build, slowly, steadily, something real, something mine. Genuine. That was the word echoing in my mind. Something real, something not propped up by lies or inherited illusions. That's when I launched my financial advisory blog. Because managing money isn't about having piles of it, it's about making intentional, informed choices, something I had to learn the hard way. My first post was simple but pointed, voice over earnings. Meaning, speak honestly, live within your means, and stop chasing a curated fantasy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. People weren't just reading, they were listening, hungry for the kind of straightforward advice I wish I'd gotten from my own family. Soon, the messages started pouring in. Thanks, George. Your debt strategy post helped me finally get control. How'd you learn all this? I replied honestly, without diving too deep. Life has a brutal way of teaching lessons. I'm just glad it's helping someone. Then came a message from Amanda Reed. Your words on financial independence really hit home. It's hard going it alone, isn't it? It is, I wrote back, but building something that's truly yours? That's the kind of wealth no one can touch. In a strange way, these strangers, people I'd never met, felt more like family than the ones I'd grown up with. They were open, vulnerable, real, and they trusted me because I didn't pretend to have all the answers, I just told the truth. Over time, my blog evolved into something bigger than I ever imagined. It wasn't just a site anymore, it was a community. People from every background shared their wins and losses, their rebuilding stories, their shame and their pride. It was everything my old life had lacked, authenticity. Then, one night, I hosted a live webinar, Truth and Finances. Hundreds logged in. I could see their names, their comments, their eagerness to be part of something honest. You can't fix what you won't face, I told them. Debt, denial, destructive spending, it's like a silent weight, but once you drag it into the light, you can start building again, smarter, stronger. The virtual applause rolled in, and for the first time in a long while, I felt something stronger than validation. I felt seen. Even though my family still hadn't reached out, aside from the occasional cold text or stony silence, I didn't feel alone. I'd built something without their money, without their name. And it mattered. That night, as I closed my laptop, I sat for a long time in the quiet. The loneliness was still there, but it had softened, because what once felt like exile had become something else entirely. Independence. A future built with truth instead of illusion. And that was a price I'd pay again, every time. Months later, the headlines hit like a tidal wave. Prominent business family declares bankruptcy, assets seized. The story was everywhere, financial news outlets, social media feeds, even evening broadcasts. My parents, once the epitome of wealth and prestige, were now cautionary tales of unchecked spending and buried debt. The fallout didn't stop with them. Nancy and Mia's trust funds? Gone, dissolved into legal fees and liquidated assets. I read the news over my morning coffee. The bitterness of it all, past and present, blended with a strange cocktail of vindication and grief. My phone buzzed with messages from readers. Some offered sympathy. Others, support. One comment from a longtime follower, Jenna, stood out. George, just saw the news about your family. Are you okay? I typed a response without hesitation. Thanks for checking in, Jenna. It's tough, yeah, but this only strengthens what I believe in: transparency, accountability, and building financial stability from the ground up. The chaos surrounding my family only seemed to sharpen my message. As the blog continued to grow, so did my platform, podcast invitations, conference panels, guest columns. I became known as a steady voice in a turbulent financial world. Integrity over affluence, that became my mantra. During a live podcast interview, the host asked, George, with everything happening in your family, how do you maintain trust with your audience? I didn't flinch. By being honest, I said, my family fell because of secrecy. I won't make the same mistake. I believe people deserve the truth even when it's uncomfortable. The support was overwhelming. Readers didn't turn away, they leaned in. My story gave theirs permission to unfold. Then one night, after a particularly well-received webinar, a notification blinked on my screen, a name I hadn't seen in months. Mia. Hey, George, can we talk? I hesitated, then dialed. Mia? A pause, then a slow exhale. I owe you an apology, she said quietly. You were right about all of it. I didn't want to see it, what mom and dad were doing, what we were benefiting from. I was blind to it, and I took it out on you. I'm sorry for what I said, for how I treated you. It was more than I expected, and somehow, it was enough. Thanks, Mia, that means a lot. I know this hasn't been easy for any of us. She hesitated again, then came the real ask. Would you help me with my finances? I mean, I don't know where to start, but you've figured it out, and I trust you now. I smiled, the weight of old resentment finally loosening its grip. Of course, we'll take it one step at a time. When we ended the call, I sat back, feeling something I hadn't in a long time: peace. No, my family might never fully mend, but this was something, a beginning, a quiet rebuild on the ruins of old pride and pretense. Through it all, through the crash and the climb, I'd created something my family's money never could: a legacy of resilience, honesty, and earned respect. That night, as I closed my laptop and prepared for another day of writing, advising, and connecting, one truth rang clear. Success isn't just about what you build. It's about what you stand for. And now, a question worth asking. Was it right to expose my family's secrets for the sake of truth and accountability? Or does loyalty, even in silence, come first? You decide.